Hello and welcome to my website. I'm just wondering if perhaps you're a bit like me. When I was in my 20s, I listened to the Beatles a lot. It was my era. And believing what I was listening to, love is all you need. And I really believed that. I really took that on board. And I thought, yeah, well, going forward into life as an adult, love is all you need. And I'd meet somebody to love and they'd love me and we would go off into the sunset and be happy ever after. And of course, I went off and did that and spent the next 20 years feeling very stuck, very trapped. And gosh, this is not, nobody told me it was going to be like this. And it was just totally not what I expected. And so over that 20 years, I tried a lot of self-help. I read a lot of books. I did some short courses. I tried to learn whatever I could to figure out how to make life work. And what I learned was actually, love is not enough. I definitely learned love is not enough. And from courses, short courses that I did on transactional analysis and what I was reading, I made a really shocking discovery. And it was that there was an awful lot about life and love and relationships. There was an awful lot that I simply did not know. And I didn't know that I didn't know it. And there seemed to be an awful lot of it. And I was quite shocked, feeling, oh, well, why didn't somebody tell me this or teach me this? And I came to understand that although I was an adult, psychologically, I was still a child, and emotionally, I was still a child. I felt like a 12-year-old masquerading in an adult body. So this was quite perplexing, but also it was really exciting because I was feeling so thrilled to discover that no, love is not enough, that we need to have knowledge and we need wisdom and this thing called emotional intelligence and also spiritual development. And the kind of not knowing what we don't know, we need to take that into account and start to discover what there is to learn. And around the early 80s, there was a movie, a Shirley Valentine. Some of you might have seen it. And there's a scene in that where Shirley is, discovering herself and this whole phase, different phase of life. And she's saying, I've lived such a very small life. What's life for if it's all so small? And I really resonated with that. I remember sitting in the cinema and absolutely weeping at how small my life seemed to be. So when I got to 40, so that's 20 years later, I had always been told when I was young, life begins at 40. Well, of course, I didn't believe that. How could that be? Because 40 seemed to be really old. So when I got to 40, I was inspired by Goethe's couplet, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it now. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And I remember reading that and being really struck by it. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it now. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. And I just felt like I was living a very fear-ridden life. I was afraid that I could never stand on my own 2 feet, that I wasn't good enough, that I wouldn't be able to take care of myself if I was out of my marriage and I had children to take care of, and I could hardly take care of myself, never mind take care of them. And I was so paralyzed with fear. And when I read those lines of Goethe's, I was struck by it. And, there was something that went with that along the lines of when you step out, providence steps in. And I decided I was going to do that I was going to trust in some kind of higher power to step in and guide me. And I did that. And I stepped out onto the field of infinite possibilities to just whatever was coming. I had no money, no family, nothing around me, but I decided to engage with life as not as a victim, but as a co-creator of life, because I had come to learn as well that we are all pure, creative, dynamic energy, and we create our own reality. And I was determined that I was going to discover, how do I recreate this life? So I did step out and I immersed myself in study. I went back into higher education. I cut out a successful, skillful career as a social worker, and then as a psychotherapist, a family mediator, a life business and executive coach. And I loved learning and I loved growing. And I realized I had been an adult child and I grew myself up, and it wasn't all easy, and it's what I would call the worst of times and the best of times. But in the 35 years since then, I transformed my life, and in the course of that I have helped thousands of other people, men and women, to transform their lives as well. And so I hope you'll stay with me and that you'll join me in this journey to becoming all that we may be, not just for our own benefit, but as part of humanity, because the world needs us all to be as one, to be all that we may be, and to be able to learn how to skillfully transform what and transmute what's in front of us and what is stuck and trapped and not working, to bring magic to it. So please do join me. Click on subscribe, join my list, and keep in touch with videos and webinars, and let us all grow together. Bye for now. Bye.